Well, the Angels are still a struggling franchise. They still have not had a winning season since 2015. And once again, I have just no idea where this team is going, to be honest. Let's take a look at their last 5 seasons. Obviously, it hasn't been good. In 2025, they were 72 and 90, so a little bit better than 2024, but still at the same mark as they were in 23 and 22. Obviously, there's a handful of positives coming out of this camp, but I feel like there's still a lot of negatives with this team. Those are their last 5 seasons. Once again, still haven't made the playoffs since 2014. Last winning season was 2015. So ever since they changed their name back to the Los Angeles Angels, nothing has really gone well for them, except for MVPs and Rookie of the Years. That's the only thing that's gone right for the Angels. Well, let's take a look at the Angels contract situation, because this is one of the parts that is a little bit positive moving forward. We still have Mike Trout on this team for 5 more seasons up until that 2030, which is going to be his last year with this team. The Anthony Rendon contract, it's the last year they have to pay that guy, so thank God that contract is done. People are saying that this is one of the worst contracts in MLB history, so finally good that this is his last season. Pretty sure he's not going to play this year. They're just going to get paid out and he's going to retire. Finally, they can get that almost $40 million back, which is going to be extremely beneficial to sign more free agents, which they're 100% capable of doing. They're obviously still paying Kikuchi those 2 years. Obviously, Soler's here a year. Robert Stephenson is still here for 1 more season, and he does have that team option in 27. And then Travis d'Arnaud is still here on that $6 million deal for 1 more season. Those are some of the players they have under contract. Obviously, they did just sign Alek Manoah to that new contract, what, $1.95 million or something like that. So he's going to be on this team in 2026. And then pretty much everyone's in that arbitration phase, as we can kind of see as we go on down. So definitely a good amount of contracts signed. I think the Angels, they just got to spend their money properly, right? I think they've given out a lot of money to different players, but I don't think a lot of these players are worth the money that they're giving out. Like, for example, the Anthony Rendon contract. Obviously, Mike Trout was super good in the beginning part of his deal, but he's starting to die off now too. Do we really think Kikuchi's worth 21 mil? I think that's definitely a debate. And just some of the other players that they're giving contracts to. So that's kind of my issue with the Angels. And as it stands right now in 2026, it looks like they're going to pay $161.5 million. If we take a look at what they paid in 2025, their payroll in 2025 was $208 million. They're about 40 to 50 million off. We'll see if they sign someone. I think it'd be very exciting if they did, to be honest. And we obviously have a lot of different players in the market, for some international free agents to some MLB free agents. So I definitely think they can make a splash 100%. Once again, I think it's for them. It's about spending that money the right way and giving out the right contracts is what they need to do. Because I feel like they've kind of failed at that with multiple years in the past. So that's my take on their contract situation. Let's go to their active roster, because this team is actually very interesting. Obviously, we're going to start with this rotation, and obviously it's a pretty decent rotation, I want to say. Obviously, the Grayson trade for Taylor Ward, I know there's some mixed feelings about that for some Angels fans, because Taylor Ward was one of their guys, right? Brought him up as an Angel, was very a good player, but he is a free agent at the end of 2026, and Grayson isn't a free agent until 2029, so he definitely won that battle of control. And I do think after his surgery, he pretty much feels pretty confident he's going to be back with this team. He obviously removed that stuff in his elbow, right? So he should definitely be back, and the times he's been on the field, he's looked really good for the Orioles. So I'm very excited to see how he's going to do with this Angels team. Obviously, Kikuchi's back on this team, right? I think he's going to be a very good player. Reed Demers is probably one of their best pitchers that they have on this team, and we'll kind of see how Soriano and Dana do. But I think the rotation so far is pretty decent. I think Grayson's a huge acquisition to that rotation. Let's take a look at this bullpen. Obviously, their bullpen, they haven't had the best names in here. Obviously, they've traded a couple of players, and then a lot of players that they got were free agents. So we'll kind of see how they rebuild this bullpen up in the offseason. But personally, right now, there's nothing crazy coming out of this bullpen so far. I think Brock Burke is a pretty good player, but aside from that, I mean, Furman has had his moments, but not a lot of really good talent in this bullpen. Now let's take a look at the starting 9 for the Los Angeles Angels. I still think the Travis d'Arnaud and O'Hoppe catcher duo pairing is phenomenal. I've loved O'Hoppe since he's been on this team. He's definitely a very solid player. And obviously at first base is Nolan Schanuel once again. We love seeing the rookies get their opportunity to play, which is exciting. Now at third base, it's probably going to be Guzman or Peraza, just because I don't think Anthony Rendon is going to play. Those with all the recent reports and rumors we've heard. And then Zach Neto is obviously going to play shortstop for this team. And then this outfield is going to look very interesting, I think. Obviously Mike Trout's going to play right field. Joe Adell's going to be in left. And obviously Bryce Teodoso, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is going to be in center field. And then at DH, you're going to have Jorge Soler at that DH position. Probably with d'Arnaud as well. I think that could be a good duo, little pairing, because I do think Travis d'Arnaud is definitely a solid player. So that's kind of your starting 9 for the Los Angeles Angels. I think they have a lot of upside with their rookie talent, especially in the infield. Your first baseman, second, and shortstop are all good players, and they're all rookies. So I love seeing that continue with the Angels. They're the only team that really does that, except if you're like a top 5 pick, you get to the league pretty quickly. But let's take a look at the top 100 prospects. The Angels have 2 players players of the top 100, which we're going to go over. So coming at number 91 is going to be Tyler Bremner. Now, he was obviously their first round pick in 2025, pick number 2, and he hasn't played a game of professional baseball, but even being on the top 100 and you haven't even played one game is still super impressive in my opinion. So we're going to see how his campaign kicks off in 2026, and we'll see how fast he's able to get to the league. They do have him as an ETA 2026, which I find very surprising, but he is an older player, so maybe that makes sense. But I really just don't see him get into the league that quickly, but the Angels do like to call their guys up, so I really don't know where his ETA is. Me personally, I think 2027 or 2028, but that's just my opinion. And then coming in at number 96 is going to be Ryan Johnson. Now, he's in a very interesting part of his career. He was obviously drafted in 2024 by the Angels at pick number 74, and he starts out in high A with the Angels, and he has a very good campaign, 57.1 innings, only a 1.88 ERA, and then he gets called up to the Angels, which is very interesting because I feel like that never happens really. The only time we saw this was in 2020 with guys that just got drafted in that last draft, or in 2019 or something like that. They were able to play at the MLB level because that was the only baseball they could play at because there was no minor league season. But yeah, very interesting they called him up with the Angels, and he had a 7.36 ERA in 14 innings, so obviously not good. Hitters were batting 364 against him, so that's just not where you want to be. So I kind of doubt he starts with the Angels this year, just judging off that. I mean, we'll kind of wait and see what they want to do with him, but we'll see what the 23-year-old plays in 2026. I just found that very odd. So those are the only prospects on the top 100 for the Los Angeles Angels. So Tyler Bremner, definitely excited to see how he does. Ryan Johnson, we'll kind of wait and see where he's playing next year. Now let's take a look at the Angels' attendance in 2025 because it was definitely very positive. This is one thing about being in that LA market that definitely helps them out. They were number 16th when it comes to year-over-year difference, which is very good. They had 37,000 more fans than they did in 2024, so that's definitely a positive for the Angels. When we look at 2025 attendance as a whole, they're actually the number 13th when it comes to attendance, bringing 2.6 million fans to their stadium, right around a 32,000 average, which is insanely good. That's really good for the Angels. You know, they're obviously helped by that LA market a lot because the Dodgers have 4 million in the same market, right? And they're obviously one of the best teams in baseball right now. So with the Angels being at where they're at, not making the playoffs and being a negative team, I feel like this is very good for their organization because everyone else above them in attendance and a couple of teams lower than them all had better seasons by records. So I think this is a definitely good spot for the Angels. Now moving over on to the 2026 MLB draft lottery. Now the Angels come in as ineligible for this draft lottery because they are a paylord team like the Nationals, which means they contribute more money than they take. So they are ineligible for the draft. Once again, I still don't know how that makes any sense, but that's just how the rules work, I guess. So they will be picking around 10th, 11th, or 12th. I'm pretty sure they're going to be 12th just because they were the best teams compared to the Rockies and the Nationals. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be number 12th when picking for their first round pick. Just with the ineligibilities, I'm pretty sure that's how they've done it in previous years. So that's where the Angels should be at number 12. But let's go over my prediction for this Angels team because this one is very confusing for me. You know, I want to believe this team is going to be very good or they're going to be pretty good or around 500. I just don't think it's going to happen. With all the talent they do have on this team and all the players that they do have, they should be good. Like, that's the thing. They should be a good team. Now, they are in a little bit of a harder division, right? I mean, the only other team that's on the same level as them is the A's, but I think that A's team is going to improve by a lot. They're definitely the worst team in this AL West, and everyone else is very good. So it's really hard for me to put this team somewhere in contention. I think they're going to be 5th again in the AL West. They haven't really made any improvements on the prospects they're going to call up, or they haven't really signed any free agents yet. I do think the Grayson move was a great step in the right direction, but we'll see if losing Taylor Ward was the right decision in the long term. But I just can't rank this team really anywhere else above where they were last season. I just don't really see it happening, to be honest. I think they are going to be a little bit worse than last season unless they go out and sign a free agent or they make a couple of trades, because that is always an option for them. But we'll kind of wait and see moving forward, but I don't see them better than 2025. Now, what's your guys' thoughts on this Angels team? Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. And with that being said, make sure you guys follow me on all my socials. Follow me on X for all of our updates and all the tweets. Follow me on Instagram for all of our clips we put on there. And if you guys want to play in our MLB The Show tournament that's coming up this Saturday, you have until Wednesday to fill out the form in the Discord and sign up and play. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.